The heat in Los Angeles didn't feel warm. It felt heavy, like it was pressing Sofia Rivera into the concrete. Cars zipped down Melrose Avenue, their engines smooth, their passengers untouched by the world Sofia now lived in. At 14, she sat alone on the sidewalk, her back against the cool stone wall of a trendy restaurant, her stomach aching in waves. She hadn't eaten in nearly 2 days. Not since the raid. One moment she was walking beside her aunt. The next, chaos. People. Screaming, running. Her aunt pushed her behind a dumpster and whispered, "No te muevas." And then she was gone. Sofia waited hours. Then night came. Then morning. No one came back. Now she was here. The restaurant was modern, expensive, glass walls, soft lighting. Inside, people laughed and sipped on wine, their plates full, their voices carefree. Sofia watched through the window, unable to look away from the plates of fries, tacos, sliders. Her stomach growled so loudly she hugged it with both arms. A security guard had already told her to keep moving once. She'd nodded, stood up, walked 2 blocks, then circled back when he left. There was nowhere else to go. She pulled out the only thing she had. A photo. Her mom, smiling. Honduras in the background. She whispered, "I miss you." The door opened. Music spilled out. Then a voice, real and soft. "Are you okay?" Sofia looked up. Jenna Ortega stood there, concern in her eyes. Sofia froze. For a moment, her mind couldn't match the face in front of her to the voice. Jenna Ortega, the girl from TV, from movies, was now just a person standing there, looking at her like she mattered. Jenna knelt down slowly, careful not to scare her. "Do you speak English?" she asked gently. Sofia hesitated, then nodded a little. Her voice came out in a whisper. "A little." "Are you alone?" Jenna asked. Sofia's eyes dropped to the ground. She nodded again. That was all she could say, without her voice cracking. Jenna looked around, then back at Sofia. She didn't ask more questions. She just reached into the bag she was holding and pulled out a wrapped sandwich, a bottle of water, and a napkin. "Here," she said, holding it out. Sofia stared at it like it was gold. Her hands shook as she took it, whispering, "Thank you." She tried to wait, to be polite, but her hunger was louder than her manners. She tore the wrapper open and took a bite, chewing fast, barely tasting it before going in for another. Jenna sat beside her on the curb, quiet. Sofia ate like she was afraid someone would take it back. Tears mixed with crumbs at the corner of her mouth. "Take your time," Jenna said softly. "You're safe now." No one had said those words to Sofia in weeks, maybe months. In that moment, the noise of the city faded. All that existed was a sandwich, a stranger's kindness, and a tiny flicker of hope. When the last bite was gone, Sofia wiped her hands on her jeans, eyes still fixed on the sidewalk. She didn't know what to say. Gratitude felt too small for what she'd just received. Her stomach was no longer empty, but her heart still carried the weight of being lost. Jenna didn't rush her. She just sat there, cross-legged, ignoring the curious looks from people walking by. "Do you have someone I can call for you?" Jenna asked gently. "Family? A friend?" Sofia shook her head slowly. "My tia. She's gone." "Gone where?" "I don't know. Immigration took her, I think. We ran. She told me to hide. I waited. She didn't come back." Jenna felt a tightness in her chest. She'd heard stories like this on the news. Kids left behind, families separated. But hearing it from a real person, from a girl still covered in dust, changed everything. "Where are you sleeping?" Jenna asked. Sofia didn't answer right away. She looked off to the side, embarrassed. "I was in a parking garage last night. Before that, behind a store." Jenna nodded slowly. Her instincts were screaming that leaving this girl here wasn't an option. Look, I know we just met, Jenna said carefully, but I can help. We can find someone you can trust. A shelter, maybe. Safe people. But we have to do it the right way. Sofia's face tightened. No police. Jenna looked her in the eyes. Okay, no police. And just like that, a fragile thread of trust began to form between two strangers on the sidewalk, one who had everything and one who had nothing left. Jenna hesitated as she stood, brushing the dust off her jeans. She wasn't used to feeling unsure. Red carpets, interviews, scripts, those things had rules. But this was real, raw, and there were no lines to follow. She extended her hand. Come with me. Sofia looked up at her, wary. People had offered things before, sometimes food, sometimes promises. Most meant well, but kindness with conditions was a dangerous game. Still, something in Jenna's eyes felt different, like she wasn't just doing a good deed. Like she really saw her. Sofia stood slowly, tucking the photo of her mother back into her hoodie pocket. She kept her head down as they crossed the street, walking back toward the restaurant. A staff member at the door looked surprised to see Jenna return so soon, especially with a dirt-covered teenager beside her. I'll be out in 5, Jenna said quietly, before guiding Sofia around the back, away from the crowd. They sat on a bench near the alley, where it was quiet. Jenna unlocked her phone and started searching. There's a nonprofit near here, she murmured, more to herself. They help kids in your situation. No judgment, no immigration officers, just safety. Sofia didn't answer. She was watching the way Jenna's fingers moved so fast across the screen, confident and focused. Sofia used to love phones. Back, home, she'd play music, take photos, message her cousins. Now she hadn't touched one in weeks. Are you hungry again? Jenna asked. Sofia shook her head, though her body betrayed her with a low growl. Jenna smiled gently. Okay, maybe. A little. Minutes later, Jenna returned with another bag. Juice, a banana, more sandwiches. She didn't ask questions. She just sat close, letting silence do the work. Then softly, Jenna said, You know, I'm not doing this because I feel sorry for you. Sofia glanced at her. I'm doing it because I've been close to this life too. My parents, they worked hard. We didn't have much growing up. And I've seen people disappear. It's not fair. Sofia lowered her guard. Just slightly. People don't usually stay. I do, Jenna said. I'm not leaving. Jenna drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting on her lap, fingers twitching in rhythm with the tension in her chest. Sofia sat beside her in the passenger seat, her body small against the leather interior. The AC hummed low, but the silence between them was thick. They didn't speak much on the ride. Jenna didn't want to overwhelm her. And Sofia, though grateful, was still trying to understand why this stranger, this famous stranger, had gone from offering a meal to offering a way out. After 20 minutes, Jenna pulled into a quiet lot outside a low building with a hand-painted sign, Safe Steps Youth Outreach. The place didn't look like much, just a converted house with bars on the windows and a broken buzzer at the door. But Jenna had done her homework. They didn't ask questions about immigration status. No cops, no threats, just care. She turned off the engine and looked at Sofia. You don't have to go in if you're not ready. But these people, they help girls like you. They know what they're doing. Sofia stared out the window. Her fingers tightened around the photo in her pocket. What if they call someone, like immigration? They won't, Jenna said, firmly. I made sure. A long pause. Then Sofia asked the question Jenna had been avoiding. And after this? What happens to me? Jenna blinked. They'll help you get stable, somewhere safe to sleep, food, maybe even find your aunt. If she's still in the system. Sofia didn't look convinced. People always say things, then they forget. Jenna felt something twist inside her. I won't forget. They stepped out of the car. Inside, a counselor named Denise greeted them, mid-40s, kind eyes, tired face. She took one look at Sofia and softened. We can help, Denise said. But she has to stay tonight at least, for her own protection. Jenna nodded. Sofia hesitated, then stepped inside. As Jenna walked back to her car alone, a woman approached her near the lot's edge. She wasn't staff. She looked more like press. Jenna Ortega, the woman asked, phone already recording. Is it true you picked up a homeless immigrant girl off the street? Jenna froze, just for a second. Then her voice came calm and sharp. She's not a story, she's a person. But she knew this wouldn't be easy. By the next morning, Jenna's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Her social media was flooded. Tweets, TikToks, Instagram posts, most praising her act of kindness, some questioning it. Jenna Ortega saves homeless girl. Actress rescues undocumented. Teen? Is this heroism or publicity? She stared at the screen, overwhelmed. The photo was already out, her kneeling beside Sofia, handing her food. Someone must have taken it from across the street. Now it was everywhere. She hated how they wrote about Sofia, like she wasn't a real person, just another headline. A project. A symbol. Jenna sat in her apartment, sunlight creeping through the blinds. Her publicist had already called twice. We need to control the narrative, they said. You did something good, but this has legal implications. We have to be careful. Careful. That word made Jenna feel sick. Being careful was what people said when they wanted to back away slowly. Meanwhile, over at Safe Steps, Sofia was quiet. The other girls were curious but respectful. Denise had given her clean clothes, a warm bed, and space. But Sofia still didn't feel safe. Her sleep was light, ears tuned to any unfamiliar sound. Her heart beat faster any time someone knocked on a door. She didn't trust comfort. Comfort had always come before pain. In the early afternoon, Jenna came to visit. Sofia met her at the side of the building, away from the others. Everyone's talking about you, she said softly. I know, Jenna replied. I didn't want this to happen. Sofia looked down. They think you saved me. Jenna shook her head. No, I just saw you. That's all. Then Sofia said something Jenna didn't expect. You shouldn't come back. Jenna blinked. Why? Because if they keep watching you, they'll watch me too. And if someone reports me, I'll be gone before you even know it. Jenna felt her throat tighten. She had walked into this thinking she could help, but she hadn't realized how dangerous her attention might become. I'm not going to disappear, Jenna said. But maybe I'll stay quiet for a while. Sofia nodded. It was the hardest kind of goodbye. The one where you're still in the same city, but suddenly in two different worlds again. And neither of them felt safe anymore. The email came. Just before noon, Jenna stared at the subject line. Urgent contract review. Project status on hold. She already knew what it meant. One of the studios she'd signed with, a major streaming platform, had frozen her lead role in an upcoming series. No explanation. Just pending internal discussion. Her manager called a few minutes later. They're nervous, he said. It's not about what you did. It's about how loud it got. You gave a minor, an undocumented one, food and shelter. That's the angle people are spinning. They're scared it looks like harboring. Jenna ran a hand through her hair. So what? I just pretend I didn't help her? No, but maybe. You lay low. Say nothing more. Let the press cycle move on. She hung up without answering. Meanwhile, at Safe Steps, things had shifted. Denise called Sofia into her office. She closed the door gently, her expression tight. "We received a call this morning," she said. "From an anonymous tip. Someone reported that a girl fitting your description was staying here without documentation." Sofia's stomach dropped. She knew this would happen, her face on social media. Her name whispered in the wrong ear. Denise continued, "We're trying to protect you, but we have to move you to another shelter, more private, more secure, tonight." Sofia didn't speak. She just nodded. That night, under cover of darkness, a staff member drove her across the city. No headlights, no talking. Just the sound of tires rolling over cracked pavement. The new shelter was colder, smaller, metal bunks, a locked door, but safer, for now. Jenna tried to check in, but Safe Steps had orders. No visitors, no exceptions. She felt the wall rising again, the one Sofia had spent her life climbing. In her apartment, Jenna scrolled through news articles. Some praised her bravery. Others accused her of interfering with federal processes. One even claimed she was aiding illegal activity. She slammed the laptop shut. Across the city, Sofia lay in a strange bed, staring at the ceiling. Her photo of her mother clutched tight in her hand. Two people, connected by a moment, now divided by everything, and outside, the system watched, unmoved, unblinking. Jenna sat on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, staring at the contact list. There was one name she hadn't touched in over a year. Maria Alvarez, an immigration rights attorney she had met during a benefit event. Back then, Jenna had donated, posed for a photo, thanked the organizers. It had been a good cause. But this wasn't about causes anymore. This was about a girl with a name, a life, a future. She hesitated, then tapped call. When Maria answered, her voice was warm but guarded. "Jenna Ortega?" "I need help," Jenna said. "It's about a girl, 14, no papers. She was separated from her aunt during a raid. She's in hiding now." Maria's tone shifted instantly. "Where is she?" "She's being moved between shelters, quietly, but she's already been reported. I'm scared she won't last the week." Maria didn't ask why Jenna was involved. She just said, "Send me everything you know." That night, Jenna posted a video. No glam, no edits, just her, sitting on the floor, wearing a hoodie and tired eyes. She spoke directly to the camera. "She's not a story," she began. "She's not a trending topic. Her name is Sofia. She's 14. She hasn't done anything wrong. She just wants to live without being afraid." The video went viral in hours. Let Sofia Stay started trending. Activists, actors, even journalists picked it up. Jenna's feed exploded again, but this time, there were more voices standing beside hers. Meanwhile, in the new shelter, Sofia saw the video on a staff member's phone. She didn't say anything at first. She just stared at the screen, frozen. Someone had said her name. Someone was fighting for her. That night, she cried silently into her pillow, not from fear, but from something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But the attention brought risk. The shelter received another call. ICE had been alerted. They were coming to verify the girl's identity. Denise warned Jenna. "They're accelerating the case. If we don't act fast, they'll move her into detention." Jenna turned to Maria. "What can we do?" "There's one option," Maria said. "We file for special immigrant juvenile status. It's risky. If denied, deportation becomes immediate. But if we win, she stays." Jenna looked at the clock. They had 48 hours. Sofia would have to tell her story, all of it. No hiding, no silence. And Jenna would have to put everything, career, image, reputation, on the line. This wasn't charity anymore. It was a fight. The hearing room wasn't what Sofia expected. It wasn't dark or dramatic like in movies, just gray walls, fluorescent lights, and a long table with people who didn't smile. She sat beside Maria, hands clenched, in her lap, wearing borrowed clothes that didn't quite fit. Across the table sat a representative from Immigration Services, a translator, and a judge who looked at her with tired but not unkind eyes. Jenna sat quietly in the back row. She wasn't allowed to speak, not officially, but her presence was a promise, a silent one. "I'm here." Maria placed a hand lightly over Sofia's. "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest." Sofia nodded, then took a shaky breath. She began in Spanish. The translator repeated her words in English for the court. She spoke about her life in Honduras, the gangs, the threats, the day her older brother never came home. She told them how her mother had saved for a year to pay a coyote, how she crossed the border with her aunt, how they had slept on floors, hidden in trucks, walked through deserts. Then came the raid. The moment everything unraveled. Her voice broke only once, when she said her aunt's name, Isabella. She hadn't seen her in weeks, didn't even know if she was still alive. The room was silent when she finished. The judge asked a few questions. Maria answered. The translator repeated. No one raised their voice. But Sofia felt like her entire life was hanging by a single thread, and every word tugged at it harder. When the judge said, "I'll review this within 24 hours," Sofia almost collapsed from the weight of it all. Outside, Jenna waited. "You were incredible," she said, kneeling to Sofia's height. "No matter what happens, that was brave." Sofia nodded. "I told the truth," Jenna smiled. "That's more than most people ever do." That night, neither of them slept. The call came at 10:12 a.m. Maria picked up, silent for several moments. Then she turned to Sofia with a small, cautious smile. "He approved it. You're staying?" Sofia didn't speak. She blinked, her mouth open slightly, as if her brain hadn't caught up with the words. "You're not going anywhere," Maria repeated. "You're safe." The tears came slowly, not dramatic, not loud, just soft sobs, like years of fear melting into something warmer, something real. Jenna was all ready, on her way to the shelter. When she arrived, Sofia ran to her and hugged her without hesitation. "You did this," she whispered. "No," Jenna said, squeezing her tightly. "You did." The legal process ahead would still be long. There would be paperwork, interviews, check-ins. But the most terrifying part, the uncertainty of existence, had finally been lifted. Sofia moved into a transitional home near Silver Lake, where she shared a room with another girl her age. She started English classes, therapy. Slowly, she allowed herself to dream. She began writing. Not essays or assignments, stories. About girls who survive deserts, girls who find family in strangers, girls who fight quietly and win anyway. Jenna visited often, sometimes just to sit and listen. Her career had changed. She lost one role, but gained a new one as a voice in immigrant advocacy. She didn't plan it. She didn't rehearse it. She just spoke the truth, like Sofia had taught her. Months later, during a televised interview, a journalist asked, "Why risk so much for one girl?" Jenna answered without hesitation, "Because she was never just one girl. She was someone's daughter, someone's future. She wasn't a case. She was Sofia. And that should have been enough from the start." The screen faded to black. But the story didn't end, because Sofia Rivera had just begun writing her own.